month or something compared to $300 or whatever it might be.
Right.
You know.
I know Bob said that they had it, but I never heard, well, how do we start it?
Just email her and be like, hey, can I get expireds, or hey, can I get semi-winners, or something.
She will.
Yep.
See, but why don't I know that?
Because you're not here enough.
I live 55 minutes away. I want it to be.
So do I. I live like way out there.
I want it to be I want to feel like I'm coming in for a specific, again, like one of the things that I'm really getting from all the lessons, all the people that are talking to us, time management, and 20% of your time is going to yield 80% of your results. So as I dig in on my personality, I'm like, I am not good with time. Me coming in at 8 o'clock in the morning for Ignite sucked. I was miserable every morning for that, you know, like.
They do it every once in a while. I've done it twice.
That was my second time going through it as well, and it was totally different, and I learned stuff. I'm glad I did it. I really am, because it kind of got me, it got my juices flowing. I'm fired up. I want to start seeing the results. That's where I'm at. So I'm starting to feel like I have a little less patience for the fluff. I want to get down into the grit. Like, what are we going to do to start being top producers?
Here's an idea too. How many of you have calendars and time blocked already?
Mine is half on
You do?
paper, half.
See, yeah, but now I gotta switch it because we're freaking time change.
Because like maybe if we have a day where well, no, I guess that's Thursdays though.
Yeah.
Is when we sit down and do what we need to do for our business.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
But I'm
Thursday.
open. You and I talked.
Right.
We talked about this a long time ago. I'm down if anybody, if we want to have a little study group where we get together and share ideas, because I feel like, I'll be honest with you, and I don't mean any disrespect for all the lessons I've been given. I feel like I've gotten more from sitting at this table with you three in the last 30 minutes than I got from the last 5 presentations that were given in this room. That's like a raffle. That is a brilliant idea. Having a tablet designated for sign-in is a brilliant idea, because then it's all digital. I bet you.
And there's so many great
somewhere
apps.
in Command, there's probably an app where it just like right into your.
There's a QR code.
You know what I mean?
Probably.
Something
There's a
like
QR
that.
code, and if people scan it, they put in all their info right there, and it sends it right into your database.
Oh my God, a QR code?
Yes.
That's even better than a tablet, because everybody's got their phone. Oh, okay. Sign up for this raffle with this QR code.
Yep.
And then that way you don't, because
And you don't have to
sometimes.
take the time to like go back and forth, and you don't have to double check everything.
And you're,
Or like, I
is that
check
a
it like
G
10
or a
times.
Y?
Yeah.
Is that, yeah.
That's all right.
No,
you're good.
Oh, yeah,
Rob,
good.
please.
Yeah.
No, you're good. I didn't want to interrupt you guys
Yeah.
a lot, so I appreciate that. It's going to be hard to top now. You said five less teachings than it did to.
No pressure, dude. No pressure.
I heard that, but face, no.
You're like, crap, what am I talking
No,
about?
literally, I posted in our coaching group
Yeah.
the Ferris Bueller clip.
Yeah.
Bueller. The last guy was just monotone and very little content. Lots
Oh
of
my
words.
God, why do you think I kept going on my phone?
Yeah.
Believe me, I could not. I was like trying to like stay away.
Yeah.
So just be happy.
Be happy, smile a little bit, and have some life to it.
All right.
Good tips. Well, I think we have a few, at least one, Sarah, I think, on Zoom. So my name's Anthony. I'm with Avenue Transactions. Today we're kind of going through Command, the use of Command. There's a lot of things. I heard you guys talking about QR code and sync your database and stuff like that. That is an option in Command. But what we're going to focus on today is just basically running a transaction. So Command's important for a couple different reasons: how you get paid, how you check compliance, how the deal's good. You can absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
Is it beneficial if I have mine?
For sure.
Open?
Yeah, today I don't have a big slide deck to go through, so I'm really going to be showing you hands-on which buttons you press and where to go, things like that. So if you need to go grab your laptop, totally fine. I can hang around just a few seconds to allow so, and then we'll get started. It is a little bit more hands-on, so it does help have it in front of you. So before we get started, just to kind of like to know, gauge the knowledge in the room and kind of experience where are you guys at with Command? Have you done a couple of deals? Do you not know it with new agents?
My TA is really good at my Command. I don't mess with it.
Yeah.
But I
My
want to
TA
understand it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm definitely not getting the most out of Command.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
For sure. Every time I hear it, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
Command does that?
Yeah. Do you think you guys are locking, getting the most out of Command on a like database sense or a marketing sense, SMS or?
Definitely
Any-
Marketing.
Marketing,
Yeah.
Okay.
database, all that.
My database is already in there.
Yeah.
I need to-
Yeah.
Okay.
Mine's, I only have my 2 closed transactions in there. That's the only thing that's in the database part, and I've never used the marketing part.
For sure. Okay. Yeah, this is gonna be a little bit more catered toward, like I said, running a transaction, not so much marketing. But I do have, I market to all my databases, all the agents like you guys through Command, and I have smart plans set up. So if we have enough time at the end of the class, I can touch on that real quick briefly. You know, if not, we can always schedule a different class to make sure we get into that content. Right. So I want to make sure that's there for you. But running a transaction through Command is going to affect your database in the sense of once you get done and you close on a house, it is important to roll those people into a smart plan or to marketing plans. That way, post-close, you stay in touch with them, as well as kind of updating things. So we'll touch a little bit on database because the way you start in Command is going to be through like what we call contact part. So outside of that, 2 transactions in the database. Everybody need a little bit more help with marketing. What else do we have as far as Command?
They push us pretty hard on using transaction coordinators, or not push, but they recommend we use transaction coordinators here, so.
big push.
For sure.
You know, I mean, I like it, I wanna,
Yes, that's the part I do not like.
right, it's like I'm surround yourself with people that are good at shit you're not good at, you will be successful.
Yeah, that's exactly, so our company, Avenue Transactions, we're a TC company, it sounds like you guys are working with TCs. That's basically why we get hired all the time, is because it's like, the agents don't want to have to deal with that. You don't have to worry about all this stuff, right? When I go speak with new agents, I always ask them, just show of hands, and it's really funny because it's a no-brainer, but it's like, by show of hands, do you make more money sitting in a seller's meeting, or do you make more money pulling intro docs from a website? Do you make more money showing buyers open houses, or do you make more money setting up back-end stuff like this? Right, so the TC is that good business move where you can bring the outside leverage in to allow you to free up your time to go and work on the business instead of in the business. Right, this is equally important. I think TC saved the day a lot because this is what allows us to get paid at the closing table. Without Command compliance and the DAs, you would still get your check, but the check would have to come back to this market center, and then it would have to get cut. So you just don't get your money as fast as you earn it. I don't know about you, I want my money when I get it. So I'll jump in here. We'll touch on a couple different things today. I'm going to probably adjust it to you guys a little bit as we go. I just want to make sure you're well set this next 45 minutes to an hour. So if you haven't logged in before, this is going to be your main page of Command. So this is going to be kind of your dashboard. If you're on a team, or anybody on a team, you have a separate coach. Okay. Well,
We're all dying inside.
Well, what's that?
We're all dying inside. We're all by ourselves.
trying to keep the head above water.
Yeah.
So a couple of different things. This is going to be your main page. So when we get to that point in your guys' business, the next couple of weeks or so, when we set up smart plans, the first thing that's always going to be on your main page is this task. So this is going to be where it says, hey, it's been 3 weeks since you talked to Julie Smith. Go ahead and give her a call and ask how her research is going. Or it's going to be John Smith's 1 year anniversary on buying their house. You know, give them a call, check in with them. You can dedicate these, and they're going to be based on the smart plans that you build. They're going to be prompted for you, but you can also put self-reminders for you too. So I'd encourage you, if you don't have it on your phone, I use it a lot, go ahead and download the Command app. They did release a new version of it this year that's really helpful for the sense of it sends you these messages when you're doing campaigns. It'll show you the replies and it shows you, okay, you can go and remove them from the smart plan, text them back, call them, work with Twilio, all that stuff. But this first page is going to be basically like, okay, this is what I have to do today. It has a little bit of metrics. Obviously, I'm not a producing agent, so I'm not going to have these metrics here. But on yours, it's going to look a little bit different once you start to use it and track inside of it.
Mine looks exactly the same.
So far, right? That's today. That's today. We're getting some more deals. So on the left-hand side is going to be our toolbar, right? This is where we come in. Obviously, home represents that home page. Contacts is probably going to be our first step. I'm going to continue to go through the rest of them. This is going to be your task just right here, so you can open your task view a little bit more. This is where you can build and create smart plans. And edit them, alter them, do whatever you have to do to them. This is if you have any referrals out, especially a KW agent, you can send referrals out and you can also track referrals coming in. And this is how you accept them as well. You tell the market center, hey, I have a referral out in Wisconsin that should be coming in. You can track it over here. Opportunities is going to be big for us today. Campaign is going to be if you're running any marketing campaigns. Our reports, designs, listings. You can always edit a bunch of stuff in here as well. I know for me, I'm on 2 different accounts. I'm on my company's account as an assistant. So we share accounts, but since you guys aren't on a team today, we'll focus on just the independent account. So what this is important for is for your TCs probably take good care of this. let's say we go under contract. Does anybody have a listing live right now or buyer that's on the edge?
Yes, I do, and it's not in there.
No? Awesome. Well, this would be perfect because we can kind of show you. So unfortunately, it's not to the point yet where CTM and Command will work together. I think that's because CTM is stuck in like what feels like the 7 Windows era. You know, they haven't updated their systems yet. But Command is really good. I feel like Command is pretty top line as far as CRMs. Working in different brokerages and different agents and companies, I do believe that across the board, CTM is probably Command is probably one of the best ones out there for brokerages. So y'all picked a good home in a good place. So I'm going to start here with Command. Going to my contacts on the left-hand side, this is basically your database. So obviously you can import. It's really easy to import. If you wanted to, if you old school, you have it on a piece of paper, you probably have to translate that to Excel spreadsheet or something like that. Or if you're bringing it over to from a new old CRM, you go into this import button right here next to the blue one where it says add contact, you can import Excel spreadsheets and dump it all there for you. I would recommend just putting an eye over it. So for our company,
Can you clarify for me, because I don't think that everybody might set up their spreadsheet in the same column order organically. So like, let's say you have first name, last name, but I have last name, first name.
Yeah.
Or you have name, address, whatever, and I have name, connection point, like, oh, this is another mom from the school or whatever, you know, like.
Yeah.
So how does, in my very limited understanding of Excel, you put the shit where you want the shit, and when you transfer it, it's there.
Yeah.
You know, and so I'm not building my database in Excel in the same order that Command imagined it to be the most beneficial.
For sure.
So is there a way to like, does it somehow know how to auto populate the right fields?
To a certain degree, and that was going to be my next point. So for our company, we'll work on all the office rosters. So every marketer we're partnered with, we grab the rosters, which is typically an Excel sheet or a Google sheet, put it in there. When I go to audit though, so that's what I was going to tell you, just be careful on it. I noticed I imported a big sheet, probably about 500 contacts, and it flipped first name, last name on me. So when I was going out to marketing campaigns, my name's Anthony Lee, right? So it'd be like, hey, Lee, Anthony. And then those people replied, like, what the heck's going on? Right. So it was a manual thing that I had to go in and enter. For the most part, Command got it right, but I think you're saying connect points, and Command would kind of call them tags. So that's what these two right here on my first screen are going to be.
I was just using a generic example. And that, to me, I translate my limited experience in Excel. Your tags are just a column in Excel.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? And so for me, given my very limited exposure to Excel in my life, you have your name, your recent activity, your last contacted, and your tags. I almost guaranteed if I did have, and I don't have, I'm speaking hypothetically here. If I did have a database in Excel, I guarantee it would not be in the same organization of columns that Command is using.
Yep. Totally agree with you. And I think that's why sometimes you're going to have to, I mean, it's never going to be, as far as I'm concerned, we've used a couple different databases. When you transfer big databases or a database at all, it's going to be a little bit rough like that. So you're going to have to kind of cater a little bit, catch those ones, add some more.
That's a good point for me to understand. And that's what I was trying to suss out, to
Okay.
be honest, because I feel like I'm going to start loading my Command database,
right?
But I'm not convinced that I want to use Command.
For sure.
So for now, because I don't have a different CRM in my portfolio, I'm going to use it. But at some point, if I want to transfer my stuff out of there,
right,
it's just good for me to know that it's not going to be seamless. It's going to be rocky. You're going to have to switch some columns around or whatever.
Yeah, you're totally right. And we've, like I said, we've transferred, and it's almost gotten to the point where, like, I think this year, probably a couple months ago, to clarify with transparency, we just fully transferred over. The last 2 years, we're super hesitant. We were in a sauna of a couple different ones because of this task that it's not going to be smooth.
Right.
But
so you say you switched over to Command.
Yeah.
So you're using Command not as a Keller agent, because I was under the impression it's just a Keller system.
No, so our company is registered under Keller Williams, so we have access to it. We're actually, like, our license ends in the Colorado Springs office, because that's just where our company was founded.
Gotcha.
And then so we're under an admin account. So I don't have an agent account. I have an admin account.
Gotcha. Interesting.
And then we import, because it is so good, we've imported all of our officers in here, and we, smart plans, we text all the agents out here, email smart things like that.
Cool.
So yeah, so we saw how good it was, decided to use it to our advantage. And It's been working really well. I will say, once you fix those things, fix the first, last name, make sure things are good. I really don't have any problems with duplicates, which is nice. And Command actually doesn't let you put in duplicates in here, because if you search by phone number, email, first or last name, it's going to say contact with that information already exists. It's going to direct you into there. So you also don't have to worry about copying up duplicates if you're multiple CRMs bringing it to one. That's what I would say. So I think
Ricky do it.
Yeah, well, what did he do?
Ricky somehow made triplicates
Yeah.
of every contact in their group database.
he has
Special.
He hit a button and all of a sudden there was three in every
no.
phone.
I didn't get your name when I first started, was you?
Nick.
Did I answer your question okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right.
It was an indirect question. It was more broad than just command, but
No, I'm glad
Oh,
we
you
got
got a
there.
fancy chair,
I see it, let's look at that back.
Gotta be comfortable for doing all this training. You guys take classes all morning?
Classes all day,
Oh,
Tuesdays,
Tuesdays are our big study hall, so to speak, classes all day.
man,
right?
we're gonna need some mimosas or something.
Oh, yeah. By the time we're done, it's beer time,
It's
actually.
3 o'clock, yeah. So let me pick back up here. So we're in Command, we import our contacts, or for our first listing that we just had, like you mentioned, this is gonna be our first one. But we have to get them in here, because if we don't get them in here, we can't create an opportunity. The easiest way I find, being a TC, I always just want to double check. What I'll do is I'll always search. So I always just search my client's information. If I feel like they've been in them before, I'll search them. Like I mentioned before, you can search by phone number, email, whatever one any of these metrics are, you can search. And if they're not in there, they'll say, okay, you have no contacts. Then you come over here on the right-hand side where it says add contact. This is super helpful for the sense of you can get really detailed with this, or you can, you can get as less detailed as you want to. You don't have to put in a phone number. You don't have to put in an email. Totally depends up to you. But I'm already in here. Let me show you a couple of things. So we'll create just John Smith today for purposes, right? I have to capitalize everything. As a good TC, I have to make sure I'm watching everything. I have a relationship. My client's name is John Smith. Well, I also want to make sure that his wife, Julie Smith, is also added here. Or whoever he's working with is also added here. So you can come over here, and this is where I got it. If I moved a little bit too fast, I typed in the first name, it just went to add relationship. And then it's going to ask you, okay, what kind of relationship? It is a little bit limited, spouse, mother, you don't have everything, but you could have, step-sibling, anything like that. Either, I'm going to go ahead for the sake of this example, just leave it here. I'm going to just say Julie Smith. And then what I'm going to do is just press add, and it's going to add her there. And then I'm going to put in an email. I can put in a phone number, you can always change it. Primary, work, whatever. If they have an out-of-country phone number, you can do that as well. Lead source is really good. So here's some we have a little bit filled out. We used Boomtown recently as our marketing stuff. Burgundy was also one of our texting databases that we use. So in order to track that, we made all these different lead sources. So you can just say, I'm going to say they're a caller. I'm going to mark it as a lead, but also as a contact point, as you said. I want to make sure, hey, I know I met Julie and John Smith at my kid's student PTA meeting or whatever it may be. Well, I know they're also going to be buying, so I always want to categorize them as what they are. But I'm also going to say PTA meeting. So you can make these labels whatever you want to make them. Command's going to think about it. You're going to create a custom tag. It lets you pick the color. And then you can press add. If you wanted to get a little bit more detailed, you could go down here to add additional contact information. So you have a different phone number. They only want email sent to their work email. Primary address. Any Facebook profile that you want. This is really helpful. So you can put in legal names, you can put in birthdays. If you build a campaign about wishing everybody a happy birthday and you decide not to let Facebook do it or you want it to be automated, you could put it in here. Here's one big part that I'll come back to when we close out the transaction is home anniversary, right? So this is really important and this is good for one of your 36 touches, staying top of mind with your clients. Hey, John and Julie, I know you guys bought your house last November 8th. I just want to see how it's going. Just want to see how things are going and hopefully touch them a couple of times and talk to them a couple times then. But it does give you an excuse to go back to them. Just say, hey, I want to send a gift or whatever.
Hey, real quick, how did you change the color?
Yeah. So it's just going to be when you're creating a tag, it's going to ask you what color you want to create.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
You just
so
typed in whatever.
you type in whatever.
PTA meeting, and then, what is that,
So it says create custom tag right down here, after you type it in, and then just for tagging purposes, it's gonna ask you which color you wanna create. And the colors, they don't mean too much. I'll show you how you distinguish them, and I'll show you, you've probably seen it on the main screen. No, so I will come back to that for us. Any work information if you want to, and any custom fields if you want. So now I'm gonna go ahead and add them into my database and say, John and Julie are now in here. They just got under contract, so I need to make sure my office knows that we're gonna get paid on this deal here soon. So now it's gonna refresh. And then here's where these different colors come in. If you always want to keep them color coordinated, and just know, hey, I know that the color black always represents my buyers. First time home buyers are green because they're new to it all, whatever you want to do that way. Family is closed, purple, reminds me of heart, whatever it is for you, you can always tag them that way. But this is going to be kind of your database. And what's helpful about this is as you go ahead and do this, a couple different ways. You can search by tags. So if I had a whole spreadsheet here with a bunch of different people and say, I want to search just my buyers, or I want to search just my people from, let me see, my first time home buyers. You can search, I also want to search by company, the date they created, if they're active, primary phone numbers, their birth month, so I wish everybody November a birthday, and you can go press apply. And then it's obviously going to pull people with just that in here, with just those tags in here. So in Avenue, on our Avenue account side, we get really specific on which brokerage you're with, which city you're in, kind of measure your metrics on like a high producing, low producing newer agent, because we use all this information to go back and retarget to those people we're marketing to. So you can actually go in, and this would be in part of the Smart Plans class, but you could go in and you can actually create a campaign just for family members. Make it a bit more personalized, share some photos of your family and ask about theirs. You can create a program just for first-time home buyers and say, hey, I have this great lender who only does this for first-time home buyers. So you can always kind of cater to that way when you're doing Smart Plans. But it's also a good opportunity to just have a quick glance, right? When I log in here and I see, okay, my first-time home buyers, hopefully I have more than this, database is growing. But Anthony, I know he's looking to buy a home. I'm going to reach out to him, see how he's doing. So that's kind of how you kind of work targeting it a little bit. But I'm not under contract with Anthony. I'm under contract with John and Julie. So I'm going to go ahead and find them. And we're going to continue to work there. Oh, I have to take the filters off because I have. So here's my contact card. And here's a good example. Because I belong to two different accounts, you saw this bar pop-up, so looking for more. There's 40 other contacts in your database to start with the name John. It would ask me to switch to team account. So if you're ever on a team, most of the time they're going to have you operate on what's called the rainmaker in GTM, which is basically the team leader, and then everybody operates underneath them. But in this situation, since we're all on our own here, we'll stay in this account.
We have a Fob City.
What's that?
We have a Fob City. If you're in the league program with Anna, that shows up for you.
Anthony, can I ask you on the names of the contacts, the way you had like that husband, wife, where you did them as individuals?
Yeah.
I guess when I uploaded all mine, I put them, like if they were a couple, for example, I put Alex and Deborah on the same line.
Yeah.
Is that, should I change that out? Or
No.
is it?
It's totally fine. It's up to you, right? It depends on if you want them to
And
be
a
like,
lot of them.
say the husband's really bad at emails. And
Right.
the wife is great.
Yeah.
Maybe you put them in two different ones.
So
But if
that,
you know they share the same email account,
Okay.
there's no reason to have two emails.
I see.
It really just depends on you.
Okay.
Or if you want,
That makes sense.
I guess it would affect your database
Whatever.
number, saying I have, 450 versus
And that was
if you
my.
condense them all, you
Yeah.
only have 350.
So
Right.
It's totally up to you. It really doesn't matter. I can go back in and I can edit versus
There's
John
a
and
good
Julie
shot.
Smith.
Okay, okay, so,
This is a contact card, especially when we're on a contract, I'll show you how to
Right.
get it a little bit more,
okay,
and show you there.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Of course. So down here in the contact card, once I was to click into this card here, it's going to show you a card health score. So basically this says it's got 28%. And I think that 28% only comes from having a tag, having a phone number and email. But I need to have a little bit more information if you care to have that at 100%. What you can do is edit all of this information here on the left. This did give us the opportunity to do so when we first created it. But you can also say, I want to put them in a neighborhood. What is your guys's?
Zip code.
What is your guys's? Yeah, what's you know what the office location is here?
10375, 10375, Park Meadows Drive.
Lone Tree.
Yeah.
There you are. If there's apartment suite, you can put that. If you want to save it. So what this will go ahead and do is once I put this in, it's going to add this neighborhood right here, which is also helpful. You can, it's going to pull a list of selected neighborhoods or subdivisions for them to look into. You can use this when you're targeting, say I want to target only people in Park Meadows, or you can go and say, you can even put in their desired neighborhood, which is also helpful as well. So you have a way of updating that, keeping up to date with that. So, hey, we want to move out of Lone Tree, we really want to go into Highlands Ranch or Centennial or Inglewood, then you can put that information in here as well. Again, this does affect when you go back to campaign, you can campaign and market to select neighborhood groups. So this is just updating a little bit of information. You can see it's going to bump my house score up a little bit. If I put in a phone and email number, definitely do a little bit more. But now we're here. We have to create a contact. So we have to create an opportunity. I've already told CTM I have a new contact, but I need to create an opportunity. Well, how do I do that? It's going to be over here on the right-hand side. Does everybody know? For those who've done deals, we know, but for those who don't, we know why opportunities are important. Why do we need those?
To track your goals, maybe to track the goals or the, just your
Yeah.
incoming.
Yeah, to track what's going on.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. So the opportunities are important because it communicates from you to the market center more than verbally saying, hey, I have a buyer under contract, I have a listing under contract. It does help with tracking your metrics. It's really nice as far as if you track your income, or if you have, let's say you get to the point in the next 4 months, are you going to have 4 deals under contract one time? And you'll go, okay, I want to know what my projected CPI for this month is when this closes. It's going to allow you to do that. But opportunities is a formal communication from us to the market center saying, hey, I have this deal. Money's going to be coming in from this. So we need to get going on compliance and the DA. Compliance is when we have to upload every single document that we touch from the transaction to the market center. Every market center has their own person who sits there and audits the file. They don't audit it to get you in trouble. They don't reject it to get you in trouble. They just do it so that make sure all of your files are good and compliant. Once we pass compliance, which we're going to walk through here shortly, we can go into commissions and DAs. Like I said, without the actual physical DA, CDA stands for Certified Distribution Authorization. It's a piece of paper that you take to the title company at closing table and say, hey, here's how my check for $15,000, $20,000 gets cut up. And without that form, they can't send it, they can't give you your check. They would have to send it back here. Your office would have to wait for that check. Once they get it, they take the CDA and match it up and then cut you a check. So like I said, you always get paid. Keller not keeping money from you, no brokerage is. It's just making sure you're doing it all in order and compliance. Before we get to any of this, we have to get into the opportunities. So my right-hand side outside of this contact card tells me a little bit of timeline, tells me what I've done. So I subscribed to the Neighborhood Park Meadows because I updated the address. If I had any smart plans, I can view which smart plans are in here. If I want to add them to the one, I would do so as well, but I have to have those created beforehand. Keller Williams has really good smart plans like 36 touch, all those ones, 33 touch now, I believe. So I believe those are kind of templates we can give for you guys if you need to, or we can instruct on how to set those up as well.
8 by 8 is cool.
Yeah. And then you have tasks. If you want to add a task like, hey, I just want to make sure to call them on next Friday. I'm not going to remember because I have a lot going on. I'm going to put a task in here. I'm going to get that notification in my email or on that app. This is really good too for when you're talking with them. I want to make sure I'm documenting everything that's going on. So I called John. They're super excited. They're busy for open houses because kids have a lot of soccer tournaments, but they're available next week. Well, if you have a lot going on and you don't remember that, so here's a good time to put notes, and it's always going to timestamp it for you and date it so you know. And then save searches as well. But opportunities, let's get on to this part. So it says I have no opportunities. Well, let me take you to the opportunity screen. We'll come back to John Smith because I want to show you and give you a little preview of it. So if I go on my left-hand side, opportunities we always associate with 2 hands shaking, making a deal. If I go over here, it's going to chunk it into a couple different sections. So it's going to say listings are green. I have buyers under red. And if you're an agent who works in leases, are going to be under purple. This is once it loads here. This is where you're going to be able to see. Let me switch here because it took me my company account. If I'm under Anthony, This is where it's gonna allow you to track your goals and see a little bit of your CGI. So if I'm working under this leases, it's gonna have you work through there. If I'm working under buyers, what's really nice and what's super for categorizing everything is you're able to chunk it up of, okay, I'm cultivating this client. I met about a Panera Bread this morning. I'm gonna start to cultivate them. I got them to the point where they want to go on appointments. I got them on a point where, okay, they got pre-approved, they're active, and now they're under contract, now they're close. So these are kind of like your systems that you can walk them through.
How does it do that? Does it do it automatically? Because I just pulled up one of my, it was a buyer seller.
Yeah.
And she's under here, under the contacts.
Yeah, do you mind if I come look at it?
Hold on, pull her up again.
What are the raffles for? Oh, both tickets? Or
Yeah,
no?
it's-
Family reunion?
Yeah.
Family reunion. Okay, so here she is under opportunities, right? So I got this, and it's closed.
Yep.
All right, but then I go over here.
Yeah.
And there's nothing under here.
So when did you close them? Did you close those
It was
contracts?
like August, maybe?
Yeah, absolutely. So since they're closed, after the market center reviews them, they get taken out of this closed bucket. The way you can
Oh.
see them is go right here. To all opportunities. Mine's not gonna have much because it's just me, but it's gonna show you all the transactions. you've
Oh,
done.
look at that. They're all in here. Okay. So now it's my TC that's doing this?
TC should, not all TCs, I mean, most TCs will. Yeah,
Okay.
your TC should be the one, if you allow them.
Because I didn't do it. That's what
Oh,
it is.
yeah.
I'm just kidding. I didn't
I
touch
just
it.
don't know where I'm at.
Yeah, they will, they'll do all this for you and walk it through commands. So you can
Okay.
see down here, I only have one buyer, sorry, I only have one listing. That's gonna be one we're gonna come back to. So for example purposes, we're gonna make John and Ben, we're gonna make them a buyer. So you can do it through the contact card if you wanted to. So you go to your contacts. And if you load up John and Julie Smith's card, on the right-hand side, like I mentioned before, it's always gonna say, create opportunity. So I'm gonna go to opportunities, I'm gonna give some information. So obviously your market center is gonna be a little bit different than mine. If I was on a team, I'd select it, but this is just an individual one. We're gonna say opportunity type. And be cautious or be aware of what it does to the client name once you do so. So you're gonna say, okay, it's a listed buyer, landlord, or tenant, but they're buying. So I'm gonna say it's a buyer. It says client name. I can always go in and select right here. Julie, I want Julie to show up on the paperwork and I want her to, and I want to acknowledge that she's here as well. For me, in my purposes, I work better off of street numbers than I do last names for all of my clients that I TC for. So what I do to help me track this is I always come in here and edit the opportunity. So just like you had mentioned, you can put John, and if you want to make sure that you're being cautious at all, we can add in say John and Julie Smith. And I'm also going to say they're on 456 Main Street. So I can always edit that and detail in that way. If you want to put in custom tags, you can put in options as far as a referral. That way you know as you're tracking it, referral has to be paid out, or you're paying a co-broker, whatever it is on that point. Estimated closing date. So this is going to be coming from the contract with Campbell Puzzle. Say we're closing here at the end of the month. Time frame you can act if you're going to be cultivating them, or if you're going to be kind of putting on appointments. You can say what's the time frame that they're buying, 1 month, 2 months, 6 months. Their budget. So typically your budget is going to be, once you're under contract, the budget is going to be the contract price. But when you're cultivating them, it's going to be, they know they're somewhere in the 420s to 430s, whatever. You can put that in there. But I know I'm under contract at 450, so I'm going to type 450. And I also know that my commissions rate, I put on this one is 3%. Here's the opportunity phase. You can add this here. I will leave this for our sake, and I'll show you how to alter this once we're in there. So everything's filled out, all the red asterisks are good. I have my commission in. We'll close on the 30th and press save. Well, great. Now it says I have an opportunity. You can click into the opportunity from here, or you can go back to the handshaking on the left-hand side. And if you come down here to buyers, once it loads up here, you're going to see that I now have a 1 under the letters cultivate. So this is how you kind of track everything. We have one buyer cultivating, volume is 450 because that's what I said the contract price was. So the problem is they're no longer cultivating. They already took them on appointment. They're already active. Matter of fact, they're already under contract. So I need to get them in that under contract category. So what's super helpful about this, and just click into it. And if you guys don't like these words up top, you can always edit this when you're building these in here. So you can always say, I want to watch it, I can nurture them, and really hot, really close. So this is a cultivate tab. I've already taken on appointments. If you're tracking it again, you can say, okay, I'm scheduling John and Julie Smith. They're scheduled, they're capped, they're going to be looking at me. Active means we're searching, showing, negotiations. And under contract is where I need them to get. So let's get them out of cultivate, and we do so by going to the contact card. I find the easiest way is to just go grab the name, and you just simply drag it over. So once you drag it over, again, back to the main page, it's going to say, okay, now I have one under contract. Took it out of cultivate, bucket, brought it over here in the under contract. And then this is my different steps, kind of the main steps of the contract. Are we in escrow? Have we opened it yet? Are we in inspections, appraisals, financing? And then I believe it's going to be clear to close over here. So as we hit all these monuments, you can adjust this contact card to be staying updated. This is important for you too. If you're not constantly in CTM tracking things, you can always log into your command and say, okay, I know John and Julie Smith, appraisal is ordered, let's put in an appraisal bucket. This is also important to your market center. So when your market center logs in, you gotta remember they have 100+ agents that they're tracking all these deals from. And so they're like, okay, did this one close? We have a close date coming up. No, I still see it in the appraisal bucket. So maybe not be closing this Friday, they might be pushing it. And it tells your market center, you probably expect a push or something like that here soon. So wherever we are, we're working it through inspections. I'm always going to click into it because the contact, this little button right here, is still a little blank. So I'm going to go ahead and click into this. And this brings up the opportunity homepage where you're able to edit the opportunity. I always find it's helpful to add the property. I don't know if 456 Main Street exists, but we're going to see. Oh, there's one. We're going to buy in Louisville today. So I type in 456 Main Street, and it automatically populates it for me. I go ahead and press save. This is really helpful. Earnest just did a big partnership with Command to be able to have your guys' clients send earnest money in. Not all title companies are working with it yet, I don't believe, but it's another way for them to send it, kind of like a wire, but it's now an app where they can just transfer it that way. So you can initiate it from there, writing descriptions. If you wanted to track all this, none of it is necessary for you to get paid. It's totally up to you on how much detail you want to get in here. Well, one of the biggest things is going to be editing this. If you wanted to change the name or you got the property address wrong, you can come back in here and edit here. And also, like I just mentioned before, it shows we're in a contract, but let's say we got past contract or inspections. Now we're in the appraisal stage. I'm going to adjust that. It's going to ask contract date. This is important later on, so it's always going to have a contract date in here. And then you can put agreement date, anything like that. Finance type, or they're going to go, they're going conventional on this one. I'm going to press save. So now we're fully up to date. If you scroll up top here, it gives a little bit more context saying John and Julie 456 Main Street. If you come back into here, because we just did a little bit of updating, it's going to adjust right here. It's going to say the contract date. It's going to be the 30th. That's when that deal's closing. This is my projected commission saying I should get 13.5 back from that commissions check. That's 3% on the 450, and then my property address. We're going to move it over to appraisals, and then we're eventually going to walk it down. But just because we're working this contact card doesn't mean we have everything done yet. I have to work on compliance, and I have to submit my commission. So we're in the details page of this. Documents is what you can call compliance, you can call it documents, but this is where you're going to be starting. So this is where you have to take your buyer agency agreement, your buyer advisories, definitions, all that stuff, the contract, type of earnest money, and upload it. Don't worry about having to remember everything. Command's going to tell you. So what you can do here is say, pick checklist type. Well, what am I working? There's different compliance for if it's a new build, if it's a traditional residential, if you're working on a referral out, if you're helping them buy just land. Obviously, you're not going to have the square footage disclosure if you're buying land, right? It's going to be just different paperwork. But this is residential file, so I'm going to go ahead and click this. Man, think about it for a second, and then it breaks it down into 3 folders. Typically, your consultation folder is before you go under contract. It kind of wants you to work on that as soon as possible. It is good habit. Your TCs are great, how they're doing it. All the consultation folder is going to be is just your buyer agency and your buyer advisory. So anything that is required in red, you have to upload. You can't get through the transaction without it. And then anything conditional is for your sake, right? Let's say I have a referral agreement. Well, I'm going to go ahead and click on the referral W-9, import that referral agreement. I've noticed here in your guys' office, you have a link on yours. So if you click the link, it actually brings it up for you guys so that you're able to print it out, download it, and pull it back into here. So that kind of your office has already linked that for you. So if you're ever wondering where I get a referral agreement from, anytime it has a link under it, it's going to show you your sample that form. Same as buyer advisory. These are all pulled from CTM as well. It looks like this is instructions on how to create a buyer advisory. So let's say we upload everything. We're done with the way of COVID advisories. Let's say we have more than one listing contract amendment. You've uploaded one here, so you've already taken this section, but we need to upload another one. So what's really nice is you can upload as many documents as you want by going over here to these three buttons on the right-hand side. So over here on the right-hand side, if you click those, it's going to say, I want to add documents, or I want to export them, or I want to set them. A couple different good functions here. Obviously, exporting is really good if you're TC or you aren't doing it yourself at the end of the contract. It is just good practice to send your documents to your clients at the end of it. So you can come in here and export them and say, hey, here's every piece that you signed and touched throughout the transaction for your review, for your records, for your taxes next year, whatever it may be. But if I need to add a document, you just have to click through here, add document. It's going to want you to name it. It does give you the opportunity to add what is it? It's an inspection disclosure. If it doesn't fit here, you can always just press Heather. And then you're going to just drag and drop it up upload. This is my computer, so I'm not going to upload any of their documents here. But it's super easy when you do upload it. You just put it in there. It obviously thinks for a little bit, and then it just says upload. Big thing though is going to make sure that we are submitting to MC. So submit to Market Center is what that stands for. Once I upload all my documents, just because they're in here, doesn't necessarily mean that the Market Center is aware of it. So I have to always send them to my MC. So I send it to my MC, that one's good. But I also have to upload the contract, earnest money, all of that. So I'm going to switch down into under contract here. And this is where I have a lot more red compliance stuff. Right? I have to pull the MLS stuff, but seller's property disclosure, square footage disclosure, all of these things. The list is a little bit long. It might seem like a lot, but at the end it protects you as best as it can. Again, I'm only seeing here one agreement to amend. I've had contracts get full 5, so you can always just add extra ones. If you have to change status, become a transaction property, you put stuff in here, post occupancy. So this is where you're going to put all your documents. Let's say I upload something and seller's property disclosure, or let's say we're uploading seller's property disclosure. For whatever reason, the sellers are just super neglected to sign. They just don't want to sign. I can't get signatures on it. I've asked multiple times. Good practice is just to always document those things and provide that communication if they don't want to sign it to your Market Center. But also just talk. It's a good opportunity to talk to people inside the transaction. So if you come over here where it says add comment, you type the @ symbol. It's going to, if I actually publish it, it's going to type all the people who do your compliance here. So Aaron Diem and Olivia Poisty and Derek Wagner, you can always click into them. And this is kind of like an IM, it's like a direct message. Every time you tag somebody in command and send them a message, and then you get that email and saying, okay, they have it now. They're probably getting 50, 100, but they have a lot of agents to look over. But it is a good way to have communication. So you can just click on their name, write your message. What I always tell people who have TCs is just have your TC sign off on it. Just if you know the type of the message, at the end I just put, TC that way. They know it came from you. The only thing about having a TC is your TC doesn't get these messages when they've been replied to. So it's good to have that back and forth communication as well as signing off. That way you know. But I'm going to leave a message here for Olivia and just say, hey, seller's not signing. Please advise on what you want me to do. When she comes time to review this file, she's going to see my note and she'll give me a response back, and then I'll take that information, fill it with what I need to. You can always say, always tag in here to the MCA, hey, we got this one pushed, we're pushing 10 more days out. It's just a good way to communicate with them instead of having to jump out of here, log into your Gmail, send them an email or send them a text. It's one place you can kind of do it all, just keep all your communication there. So obviously, we're not all perfect. There's gonna be times when we upload documents and we get them kicked back. Meaning, the client's the market center is gonna say, hey, this isn't compliant. We actually missed an initial on page 14, the contract defines, so please go get that fixed. Or we didn't sign section 32 of the contract. Please go get those checkbox marked and upload it. So what they're gonna do is you're gonna have the required, it's gonna change to upload it, not upload, obviously upload it. And then you're going for green, right? It's just basic traffic signals, right? Red means bad, green means we're good to go. So if they kick it back to us, a couple things are gonna happen. It's gonna say returned. You're gonna get an email saying the folder has been returned. But also the submit MC button is gonna become open again. It's grayed out right now because we have the documents and it hasn't been submitted. So what you'll have to do, and typically they will show you a little text box right here with notes on it saying, hey, section 32 needs checked. They'll give you some instructions on how to fix it. So you go get it fixed, you just come back and you just go back to a folder and it'll just say upload new copy or upload additional copy. It does ask you to put in a little information of like, why are you uploading this copy? You don't have to, it's just a quick reference to the MCA, your practice to do so. So I upload it and I press submit to MC again, and then it's their turn to look at it. So we kind of do this back and forth dance until we get it good. So that is compliance. Any questions on that or uploading documents or how to do so?
So the documents and everything disappear? Because again, I pulled this one up.
Yeah.
And I don't see anything in it.
Yeah, let's check it out. So are you in the actual opportunity?
I believe so.
Okay. Yeah, so if looks like you didn't submit, do you mind if I touch you?
Yeah, go ahead.
Does have any on a contract, but here's all your documents.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So you'll see how they say all approved. And what's really helpful too is, let's say for 456 Main Street, we fill out and we're going to go on a different one, or we have to upload a different folder. A lot of times in the situations when you're having a lot of terminations, it's just a hassle to go create a new contact card and a new opportunity. This is more so on the listing side. But what you can do is you can rename different versions of this. So if you see right here where it says under contract, well, this is the under contract folder. If I go to this button where it says under contract or add version, I can just select what they say. I'm going to say under contract V2, new version 2. And then it gives me a new folder. It doesn't necessarily change, but you'll see here I have two different ones that I can tabulate in between. So let's say this first one didn't go well, but the consultation and the exclusive right to buy is already approved. I'm not going to create a new opportunity. I'm just going to redo this folder alone by creating a version 2 of it and uploading all my docs there. So that's command, and then that's documents, and here's commissions. So this is where we communicate to the market center. Here's the contract, here's the date, here's how much money we're making, here's how much money I unfortunately have to give to you, but I'm going to reluctantly do it with a smile on my face and pay your commission. So the way I got here, let me hop back, is I just went over here to the right-hand side, add new offer. You can name it whatever you want. Hopefully every time I go under contract, it's the initial offer, and we only go through with the initial offer, right? I hope I'm not doing a multi-offer situation. You can go create offer. It's going to ask you, okay, well, what's the offer date? Typically the contract date. So we'll just say we went on the 1st and know we're closing on the 30th. And on the buy side only, it's going to ask you for the address. On the listing side, it doesn't really care for the address. But on the buy side only, you have to put this in here. So don't forget, I'm on 456 Main Street. Where was I buying at again? Louisville. Okay. And I'm just going to go to add parties. So it already prompted in here saying my buyer's name is John Smith. The seller's name, typically what I do is I just go in the contract, I copy it, just put it right in there so I don't misspell it. And it's going to ask for associate's name. So it's going to be in two different categories, meaning the buyer's representation is Anthony Lee. The seller's representation is going to be the seller's agent. Obviously, you're always going to be down there on the bottom. So you put in all this information, you can select if they're pre-approved, pre-qualified. Once you have all this information in, you're going to go to the terms. The terms is talking, oh, sorry. Okay. So I have to put in some information before I let you go. I'm going to go to the terms. This is where I put in all the good information. This is where I say, here's their finance amount, how much cash you're bringing to the table, the final sale price of earnest money. If you're working in a state that had option fees, you put an option fee. You talk about, you could put in termination and seller costs, but you really don't have to. The only part that I really need you to want you to worry about is just gonna be this part up here. So cash in the final amount. It does get a little tricky because these are automatic calculators in here. So I can come over here. If we're gonna finance the whole deal, I can say 450, and you see as I'm typing, it's automatically changing my sales price. But maybe they're not fortunate enough to bring the full 450, so I know they're gonna be bringing 25,000 cash, right? So I'm gonna change my finance to 425. I'm short 25, so I'm gonna add 25 here. You have to just make sure it balances. And then so I know part of that 25,000, 5,000 that is our earnest money. So I'm just going to go in here and earnest money. You can see it automatically calculates 1.11% of the total purchase price is what the earnest money is. So you can do it every different way that you want it to. If you want to come here, say I want 1.11%. Okay, it looks like $5 off. So maybe not that would be best. I would always do what I always do is just right in here. It's 5,000. So just know and see here, these two plus these two are obviously going to equal this one. If this looks good, and I know my earnest money is correct, the price is correct, and the finance opportunity or amount is correct, I go to agent analysis. Agent analysis is a really good situation for sellers, when you're working sellers or you're working with buyers and put in multiple offers. This is your chance to review these opportunities here and say, hey, here's the pros of this house, here's the pros of this price, here's the pros of this down payment, here's also the cons. And then in general or in summary, this is what I think. You don't have to do it, but this is super helpful for this situation right here. So I save it. We're on the last step. You can see we work through offer details, parties, terms. Right here, I press save. Now it's going to show me my my commissions, my offer timeline. Let's say I had a couple more. You always have the opportunity to add more. So I could go here to add new offers. Well, if I had a new offer, what it's going to say is, do you want to add analysis? Do you want to send offer, remove offer, or edit it? But this is really helpful, is you can send this offer bundled with all the other ones. If you're multiple here, send them to your client and say, hey, I overlooked all the offers for you. Here's the ones I think are best. You should probably do this one. Here's where you can say this person, Dan Scott, he's only offering 15-day close and 0 days post occupancy, but Jeff, he might be offering post occupancy guarantee. That's where you can review all those contracts in a multiple contract situation and send those to your clients all in one email and saying, hey, here's the contract, here's the offers, pros, cons of it, and summary of it. Instead of saying, okay, I'm going to send you this one at 7:05, you have until 7:10 to review it, the next one's coming in at 7:10, things like that. Command does that for you, so you can always go through and just send it to them. We're a little ways from the multiple offer, right, on one house, but back 6-9 months ago, definitely used to be that way. So here's your offer timelines. Once you get to the point where your clients come back and say, I love Dan's offer. I'm going to go and take Dan's offer. You sign the contract. Okay, well, I need to accept it or reject it. Obviously, I want to accept it. We're going to go ahead and get paid on it. So command thinks a little bit, gives you opportunity to retract that decision and change your response, or it says manage commission. So this is the fun part, and this is where we get paid and we see exactly how much money we're going to get paid on this deal. I know we're going to keep it, no need to change response. So I'm going to come here to manage commission. So here is a lot of information. It looks overwhelming, but it really breaks down super simple. Up top is going to be just your general contract information, the price, your commission amount, the total commission, and the close date, contract date. Now, if you remember early on in the contact card, I left it out here on purpose. I didn't put in, and I'm going to take you back here. I didn't put in the contract date. See how it's blank? If I go to my commissions, it's also blank. So no problem, I can edit it on that screen or I can edit it here. But I know we went under contract on the 1st. So I'm just going to put that in here. And it's all right here. So this says that $450,000 and 3% commission, making $13,500 for a total unit of 1. The units are really important when you're having to share the deal with somebody or you're on a team. And let's say your team agreement is 70-30. You get to keep 70 of it, but you have to give the team 30% of it. Take that percentage and translate it to units. So if I know I'm getting to keep 70% of it, I have to update this correctly to where I don't get paid anything. So I have to go to edit agent information. And it says agent units. Well, I know I'm only getting 70% of the deal because that's what my agreement says, but it can only equal 1, so I'm going to go 0.7. And now watch what that does. I always have to come here to calculate commission. Sometimes it just doesn't do it, so it will give me an error. But if I go to calculate commission, it's automatically adjust, saying I'm only giving 7% of that deal. But I know a couple of you have them. You have some TCs. I got to get those in here. I got to get referral. I got to get a home warranty expense in here, and I always donate a couple dollars to who cares. So this is where you're going to build everything out. Okay, well I always donate $10, so I'll put $10 in there. But I also have to pay the TC or a home warranty. You do so by going to extra payment options down here. It's going to ask you, okay, well, what type? Do you want to do a bonus? So this is in a situation if you charge your clients a admin fee or a record keeping fee, whatever it may be, this will be a bonus because that has to go to the VA and it has to go on the settlement statement as well. Otherwise, title won't give that to you. If you're going to give a concession, let the deal go through, or a deduction, outside referral, inside referral. I have to give a deduction though. Let's say I'm just going to pay $150. If you have this information available, it can actually put in the EIN number and tax number. I'm going to put a line item because this creates a line item on the VA. It says 1 through 4. We're going to say for TCU. Who are we going to pay it to? Well, I'm going to go ahead and take that. We're going to pay that to Anthony Lee. And then you have to put in the address. So I'm just going to put in our home address or our office address. Hi, Peter Spruce. And then the phone number. It does ask you for an email. Don't feel like you have to put one. Typically, the right asterisk will take care of. Okay. So now my TCE is another line item right here. You can always edit it if you got the information wrong. You can always edit it or you can take it out completely. Everything looks good. I'm going to go ahead and press save changes. So this is updated my contact card over here and all my breakdown commissions saying, okay, here's my 9,000, but I got to pay that associate royalty and I have to pay that company commission. Well, what's really good about it is once you guys do more and more deals, these metrics, these little circles update for you. So it's going to say your company commission is a total of $18,000. The actual that I've actually paid into it is going to be whatever it's going to be. After this deal goes through, the actual is going to change to 28.35, and it's going to show me the balance I have left on it. So a lot of agents all the time are like, well, how close am I to cap? I forgot. I want to know.
How do we get there again?
Yeah, it won't be up to date. Let me show you here. So go into your old transaction if you want to.
Okay.
And you go to commission.
Wait, into what?
Yep. Your old, the deal you just recently closed.
Okay.
If you go into commission, and then view commission. So since it's closed, it's changed a little bit. If you scroll down, it's telling you those numbers right there.
Okay.
So this is, and always remember these numbers that Command is showing us right now are at the time of putting in the transaction. When you have multiple deals out on the table, these numbers don't get registered until the office gets their check and puts it in showing that you paid it, and then they'll get reflected. So that goes into win more in the back office, the back system of Command that the MCA touches, but they give you a good general idea of where you're at.
So why the two different circles?
Yeah, so and Keller Williams paid a total of $21,000. 18 of it is your company commission, and $3,000 of it is associate royalty.
Oh, okay.
So there's the 21,000 is typically combined, or it's just described combined, but it does break down to 18 and 3.
Okay.
And then any additional deductions, you'll see there's $100 50 checks and TC fee. I am giving them.
Should be a third circle for coaching percentage.
No, there is.
Is there? Incorrect.
I don't. I just have the two.
I mean, like they should add it now
Oh.
or do something to make it like.
Did you say there was or there's should be?
We're not sure.
I mean, we have an extra fee now, so
Yeah.
Like a coaching.
can they add it in there?
As all the transactions I've seen, I've only seen these two. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think there's a cap on that.
Well, there was in Britt's program,
Well,
but
there's
it's not in the new program.
Okay.
Bridge
Technically,
program
you don't
is
cap, you just start paying more. You're literally doing the opposite.
Not really. Well,
I mean,
yeah,
you
it's-
weren't paying it the whole time by yourself,
You were paying 5% of the 10%.
Yeah, but
until
then you start
cap.
paying 10%,
start paying-
so you
So it's
technically.
weird though, because you're going down to 10% commission split after you cap, where you're at 41% commission split.
Yeah, I get it.
It's
It's
very
very
confusing.
confusing, yeah.
Confusing.
Okay, so this is a general overview of you. So it tells net to agent. So this is a good place for you to come and say, how much money am I making on this deal? On the right, always going to give you a really nice summary. So it's going to break that, this 280, 280.35 and the 567 and say, okay, in total I'm paying the office $3,412. Here's my nonprofit KW Cares, my other deductions, which is a TC fee, but this is what I get paid. Well, if I went to go press submit this, and I can always add notes here. One thing to know is, I think I heard OpCity. When you go to do OpCity referral, they typically want you to send their checks to PO box office, I think. You can't put PO boxes in here as a outside referral. So typically what I do as a TC is I just make a note and say, hey, please assign the OpCity to this PO box. I just leave a quick note for the MCA. And that way it gets taken care of on the DA. If I wish to go to submit this, I'm probably going to get an error message though. So here's the problem is I don't have 3% of my 1% unit assigned, and my difference in the commission is 4,050. So that's because I assigned myself only 7% for the coaching fees they have to pay. So if we're going to do that and you want to correct this, you can go in and say add another agent. I don't know if I have anybody in here. Okay, she's on my team, so I'm just going to say I'm going to pay her. So I know I'm paying Olivia 3%. I'm going to calculate that commission. I'm going to state the change. Now these red ones are going to go away. I've assigned to command that full 1%. Now I can go ahead and press submit and it'll go. But real quick before I do, underneath Anthony, you're going to see Olivia's breakdown. You're going to see what she has to pay or how much she has to pay, whatever, to her commission or caps, just as you go over here. A good area they can reference to is just okay, make sure I got this much, that much, good to go. And press submit. Here, I didn't put in for both agents, so it's going to ask you want to donate anything to KW Cares. You could make this a default where you say yes $10 every time and it doesn't ask you. Or you can just say, you know, for Anthony, I don't, so I'm going to skip his, or I'm going to skip for all, I'm just going to continue. So you can just say skip donation for all, that's okay. Now it says commission has been successfully submitted. Here's a good way to know this. You always want to come in and check in and say, okay, it was submitted, but I know if I come out here to my tab here, it's going to also show submitted. Now, once your CDA gets accepted by the office, they're going to assign a DA ID to it. And it's normally going to have a number on it or a letter. Typically, I think it says right here. So unposted is going to mean that obviously it's in here, but we're not given access to it. It's been posted or it's incomplete, or worst case, it's been terminated. So sometimes when the deal terminates, your market center is going to ask you, can you go in and terminate the deal? How do you do so? Is you're just going to go back into your commission, and you're going to request termination. So you have to say, I don't expect this money coming in the deal fell through. So request termination. It's going to be permanently removed. Agree to that, and it's going to now change your termination request. So let's say we kept that deal though. We went through, we got the checks, everybody's good. I got the DA issued. Well, in your guys' office, your final DA looks like it goes under your close holder. So that's where you're always going to go to get the approved DA. So this is going to only your market center can upload that to you, and you don't have access to that until compliance is fully approved. But I messed up. I actually only meant to give Olivia 20%, and I was going to keep 80%. So I need to do a DA revision. Totally fine. As you can see, there's a link here. It's going to tell me how I do DA revision request. So this is going to be, it looks like a smart form that you guys fill out. So you can click it out. And you go through and you request it. Put your email, you tell them the date that you're doing your sell, date of closing address, what you need to be fixed. So you can, all your options are here to add deductions, remove, change splits, add a bonus, whatever it may be, do all that. This, once you submit it, automatically gets into your market centers. You don't have to worry about that or about that. They're already good. So we've done really good. We passed on inspections. We're at the closing table. I'm about to get the check. And in a couple hours, I'm getting closing documents from the title company. I have to make sure my title office knows that. So that you always have to close out the deal still. So you have to update the title commitment, put all the closing documents in, and pull an MLS sheet. So you would just drag and drop, upload them here, submit to market center. What's really important though is you always want to dictate when it's closed or not. Sometimes they close early or sometimes they close later, but you always, for reflection purposes, in this system here, you still have this box that says close. So what I would do is I would come here to close, but it's always going to make me verify after the closing date. So I just say, yep, close today. And now, just as we were talking about a little bit earlier, like a close is when it's not showing up in close. Well, it's gonna be here in close until my market center reviews it, and then it's gonna completely go away. So when you want to review all the transactions that have been fully done, you can just go to all opportunities. It's gonna show you that as well. So that's a little bit of how we work transactions back and forth. You can see on the left-hand side as well as below the bubbles. It tells you kind of the volume, it tells you your potential income, your probable income, and everything like that. So you have a good metrics to track. So I know I'm pushing us up to 12:05. We'll get you guys out of here probably lunchtime. I always like to just kind of end going back to this, just showing you guys a little bit of what we do. So obviously we're teaching this class today, just showing you what we are as Avenue Transactions. So we started this company 2 years ago, built around KW agents. Our two founders, our companies are ex-MCAs here. Olivia Boise, she's actually an MCA. And so we just knew KW compliance and smart plans the best. So we felt we could build a good company around that. So we've done so. And so here's just a quick glance for you guys, just to peek on. I know you guys said we already have TAs, systems, whatever you want to call them, that do your transactions for you. Basically, we're here to help you contract to close, building MLS, all the nitty gritty stuff, right? I can sit here and review everything we do for you. Basically, what we do is we allow you to stop working in your business and go work on your business. Do the things that allow you to make more dollar per hour than pulling intraday docs and collecting utility information, right? I think it also takes a certain personality type to sit there and want to do all that stuff every single day for a couple of years, right?
No.
So it takes the introverted people or the people who prefer to just be behind the scenes handling documents to do so. But we're always a resource in here for you guys to contact. I have a couple business cards that I'll give you guys as well. I'll leave out on the tables. If you ever have any questions, something's not working with the TC, I'm not here to sell your business, but if you have any questions, you want a third opinion, or what we've seen with agents who do have TCs is hopefully your TC's taking a break at some time. Hopefully they're going on vacation and you have some help, you need some help on that, or you can always step on the intern to help with that. I always like to offer just outside of that is you don't have to be working with me to get my information or to ask me questions. If you have compliance questions or demand problems, just reach out. So you always have opportunities to reach out to us here. We have a pretty good website on Facebook and on Instagram. We're a bunch of reels basically mimicking the real estate industry, and we make a bunch of funny reels and trends and stuff like that, as well as my phone number and email. So if you guys have any questions, I will definitely help you work through them now, or we can work through command if you guys want to. Otherwise, I appreciate you all for coming.
Thank
Can I ask you not off topic completely, how did you become a transaction coordinator?
Yeah. Well, I started off selling apartment complexes. I was like a leasing agent for 2 years, and did that, and felt like I, kind of reached the top of it, didn't like it, and I left. I left that business, and no offense to anybody's in it, but I fell into the trap of a potential lucrative career in the life insurance industry. And so I went into that, and I was like, great, this is going to be my moment. They promised me all this money. Worked for this company for like a month and a half, and I didn't make any money. So I was like, great, I left my good stable job, making no money. Now Avenue was so young. I was the very first hire when they started the company that we didn't have a website or anything. And I couldn't sleep one night. And I was scrolling Facebook, and they had a Facebook post for a job posting. And I honestly, be honest with you guys, I didn't read it. I just saw the dollar amount and said something about real estate and didn't require a license. I was like, great. And I think it was like one of the only places that accepts my application. And November 2nd was my 2-year anniversary with them. So no prior experience, just got in, learned the contracts. Actually got fired by my first client because I didn't know what a counter proposal was, because I was that green to it. I was like, wait, the contract's not signed. And so I messed up on a couple things. But since then, 2 years learning, teaching a bunch of classes, and we do about all of our TCs do in busy season, not this economy right now, but we do about 40 deals a month. So we have a lot of volume. 2 years, we've been fortunate enough to grow this company, 15 different states, and have a bunch of different partners elsewhere. So different brokerages as well. So just really tripped up on it and found it. And I'm like, wow, I've been doing it for 2 years now. So
I asked because my daughter just left the mortgage industry and she's trying to figure out what she wants to do while she puts herself through nursing school. And I feel like she was working the back end of contracts for a very successful $70 million a year producing she's a broker, a mortgage broker, I guess. Yeah. And so she worked for her as her assistant for 1.5 years before she was like, it's miserable working under this woman. I'm going to go on my own. And in 6 months, she only got 2 deals. Same thing. In 6 months, she made like $5 grand. She was like, my savings is gone. I need to get a real job.
Right.
And so I keep thinking like, you should be a TC because like my TC is slammed all the time.
Yeah.
You know, she's got, I don't know how many agents she's dealing with. Yeah, she's, and I know I'm paying like $450 a transaction.
Yeah.
If I get to the production numbers I want to get to,
Right.
that's a lot of money I'm gonna be paying to a TC.
It makes sense to bring in a house at that point if you're doing high volume.
Well, and that's just it, is
Yeah.
like, for now, I'm almost thinking like, hey, Ella, why don't you go land a job doing this so you can learn about it?
For sure.
And then potentially you can work part-time from home while you're doing nursing school, doing my transactions.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
that's a good thing. I would definitely recommend she looks into it or gets into it. I mean, I have one gal on our staff, she's getting her master's right now while still doing TCs. I think she does about 30 files. And I'm not gonna lie, I mean, you make really good money in real estate, obviously selling houses, but if you can multiply your production by 30 agents who bring deals every single month and you charge whatever you charge, like it's a good stable income. Right. So she can definitely use that to put herself through school. The only thing is, you know, obviously when the market slows, if she's looking for something consistent, you and I and all of these room now, like it's probably not something to get into that, right? If you need that.
I think she's more looking for something else she can lean on part-time.
For sure.
Fill in between classes, I could jump into a file. She's really good at the back end of doing the file.
Yeah.
You know, she just really hated the sales part of interacting with
Right.
the client, or she didn't mind interacting with the clients. It was pitching herself to try and get clients. It was really hard for her.
So,
Too many things for her to work through to
Yeah.
succeed in it. You know, for her personality type, she's very A-type. She can do all the stuff really good.
for sure.
Not the interaction.
Do you
part.
have like a training program? Because I've got a friend too, who I think would be excellent at this. And I'm always trying to bring different friends into real estate. I got some other ones that I want to get into investing with, and
Sure.
I think they've stopped listening to me. But I do have a friend, she's probably gonna be retiring pretty soon, and she still needs to work. I think she'd be really good at this.
Yeah.
Do you guys have like a training program?
We do, yeah. So we built our own. We obviously follow KW models, right? So we run it 30, 60, 90. It takes them about 90 days to already not take you out supervision, but let you go, right? So for the 30 days, you probably won't touch a contract. You're going to be learning all the systems, depending on the state, right? We have some people who live here in Colorado and do nothing but Florida and Nebraska and all of our other states, vice versa. We have Florida TCs that do Colorado business. Just depends on the volumes of business stuff. So 30 days, you're learning everything. 60 days, you kind of shadow. And 90 days, you start to take your own. And then after 90 days, we still have check-ins and stuff. But we're a team of about 9 different TCs on the company, so you always have resources to go to. But yeah, we do have our own training where they start into, and then they kind of graduate after, you know, each month, kind of build them up. Because we use Command, obviously. We have CTM, but we also built our own software to manage all these transactions at once without using CTM. So they have to do training on that, training on our kind of presentations, our systems, our language, learn the colorisms and learn the avenue transactions and all that stuff.
So how often do you hire, like, how do you, and I'm sorry, this is kind of more on a personal level, if you guys needed to know, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm just curious, like, and you,
Is there anything else you'd like to contribute to? I'm trying to put together some ideas for things that I
Do you,
can pitch
like,
as like good
put the
content,
transactions like
training
on
sessions.
rotation for them, or
Yeah.
assign them a certain
Details on-
agent, or
For
Walking
sure.
through an
So we
open
always
house
try to
prep,
make
like,
sure
for
that,
example, I don't even
each
know how to get
agent
into
has
the
the
MLS.
There's a lot of
Print off, I've never done it. Well, I just need to know how
I
to
remember
do
going
that.
back to your first
Sure, I'm sure I can model. my way
no
through
fault in doing so, just
some
find
class
personalized, right?
on
And I go out and years with my clients. I go out and
Yeah, it's just like, show me how to do it.
all kinds of clients. So like we try to build that good
So
relationship.
seller
So my
appointment
job outside of
presentation
just
intensive.
business
I would
development.
really,
So
if
I'm
I'm
more
gonna go
about
to
get clients to sign up.
inevitably, I'm gonna
Yeah.
give myself a situation where I can.
It would be
come
like
in
personality
tomorrow.
tests and
So I wanna feel confident in my seller presentation before I'm trying to find sellers.
Yeah.
I think I'm pretty good on bio presentation, but maybe not everybody is. And
I
maybe-
think it'd be a good thing to go over.
Right.
I never really had a bike presentation, I was like, I actually have to like commit some time, you know, what are like,
We're gonna
let's.
do that as
Right,
well.
because you're still in your
Let's sign a
sphere.
contract.
Yeah.
But once you leave your
Yeah, I
sphere,
have no idea how to go.
But
right, and so that's kind of what I'm doing, is like, what are the high value topics that are gonna help you excel in your real
Oh,
estate.
yeah,
career.
for sure.
Yeah, I feel like
So
open
that's
house,
why
seller,
it's
buyer, and
just-
it's just like scripts in general, because I just, everyone's like telling you to like build your like script book. Oh, you can take your start writing a script book. I thought it was a
And so do you see, I have door knock, open house, calls, seller presentation, buyer presentation. Can you think of any others?
Yeah.
Traditions?
Yes.
She graduated and she's trying to that wanted to take her own full-time. Not just like work and volunteer.
That's great. I'm just trying to put together a list because I feel like it's hard when we're not all together.
You guys,
Again, when you were sitting here and Lisa was there, or no, Courtney was here, we were like, yeah, we want to do the open house class. Do I think Ricky's gonna teach the best open house class we ever saw? No. But having somebody who's there to guide us, tell us what they would do, we can modify that, but at least we have, it's kind of like having a loose outline to operate on.
Right, basically.
And right now, I don't even have that, other than what I've observed by going to open houses. So I'm personally hitting a point where I feel like I'm not getting as much out of my opportunities to come in and have coaching as I would from getting out and doing the thing.